Hi everybody and welcome to Bloop. I'm Rebecca.
And I'm Laura.
And today we're going to be talking about the third book in the Winston Brother Series called Beard Science.
My favorite book.
By Penny Reid. It's one of my favorites too. It's not my total favorite, but it's way up there.
So here at Bloop, if this is the first time you're following us, or joining us, I should say, but if you've been following us for a while, you kind of know the spiel. But if you haven't, we're Bloop, Books on a Loop, and what that means is that it's all books all the time, and what we like to do here, which is something that I see as different than what most people are doing, is we give a content rating of the book, spoiler-free, just kind of like a movie rating, so that readers know the level of content they're getting into before they decide to invest their time, their money, and their emotional health. Because if you're like us, we get emotionally attached to fictional characters. Before they invest all of that into a book. So that's what I kind of feel like publishing. We feel publishing is kind of lacking in that area at this time. We see a lot of people debating what does your spice rating mean? What is your what does your star rating mean? What is your spice ratings? Star ratings I understand because it's like, well, this is how much I enjoyed the book or not. But I do feel like we are missing in the trad publishing world, in the publishing world in general, if it's indie as well, some sort of set guidelines that people could look to kind of understand the content level. We do not believe in censorship. Publish whatever you want, but it is up to the reader to decide if they want to read that or not.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we're going to get into the synopsis of Beard Science by Penny Reid.
By the lovely, fabulous Penny Reid.
We're such fangirls.
We're major fangirls.
Make a deal with the devil and you might get what you want, but will it be what you need? Jennifer Sylvester wants one thing, and that one thing is not to be Tennessee's reigning banana cake queen. Ever the perpetual good girl and obedient daughter, Jennifer is buckling under the weight of her social media celebrity, her mother's ambitions, and her father's puritanical mandates. Jennifer is officially desperate, and desperate times call for Cletus Winston. Cletus Winston is a puzzle wrapped in a mystery covered in conundrum sauce, and now he's in a pickle. Despite being convinced of his own omniscience, extortion by the exalted banana cake queen of Green Valley has taken him completely by surprise. So what's a maniacal mastermind to do? Likely the last thing you'd expect.
Okay, so again, like we promised, we were going to give our content rating at this time. This is adult for 18 plus, and we gave it 3 peppers, which is adult sexual content, an SC3. And what that means, we'll get that in a second. But for the adult rating, that means that there's going to be explicit language, there's going to be adult themes. But in this book particularly, there's a little bit of explicit language. I'd say it's mild. There are adult themes such as like persistent emotional abuse. There is some nudity, a little bit of alcohol use, so that parents are counseled to take this rating seriously. Detailed descriptions now for the sexual content rating. Detailed descriptions of physical interactions of sexual or violent nature. They go beyond fade to black, so search for trigger warnings. But there is moderate spice in this book. It contains multiple sex act references. They're moderately descriptive. They occur around the midway point or after. And then the sex scenes mostly focus on thoughts and feelings instead of like hardcore, super descriptive, act or like just like physical reactions versus the emotional connection. So I think Penny always does a really fabulous job with that, making it seem very realistic.
Yes.
There's not a lot of flowery language with it. Sorry, I can't talk today. Flowery language with it, and it's there's definitely emotional connection with the couples before anything like that happens. Can we, Ron, get to the next slide, please? Okay, so just to review, we have the Winston brothers family and then their sister Ashley. This is their mom, who you learned in a different series. Their mom passes. So this the first story was Dwayne, And then the second story was Jethro. And now if you want to point to Cletus. Got
This is
big
Cletus.
burly man Cletus over here. Next slide, please, sir. And again, here are all the Winston brothers together. So Cletus, he runs an auto mechanic shop with his twin brothers, Dwayne and Bo. And he's very good at running the shop. We'll get more in details in a little bit, but we'll let you know when spoilers are coming. Next slide, please. Oh, we'll get to him in a second.
Go back.
I thought it was going to be the girls.
No.
Okay. So at this point.
Oh, that's Joy.
No, just I want to. You can leave this.
Yeah, go back.
Go
back to the couple.
Leave it to the couple. Nope.
We had a little bit of a cable issue earlier, and like the cable on my laptop was not working, so Ron's got to control all this.
Okay, so without spoilers, just to give you a little taste so you understand kind of a little bit more what this book is about and like the flavor of it, besides the synopsis, there's 2 quotes. So I'm going to read Cletus, and Rebecca is going to read one from Jennifer Sylvester. So Cletus Winston, Jennifer Sylvester, the 2 main characters. So Cletus goes, "It's not the wanting part that makes you crazy. It's the blackmailing me into marrying you and giving you a baby that brings your mental health into question."
Cletus is hysterical.
Yeah.
Cletus Winston was the sneakiest, most manipulative, most powerful, and as far as I was concerned, the most dangerous man in East Tennessee. Problem was, virtually no one else seemed to realize it. Everyone in town thought he was odd, but mostly harmless. Meanwhile, he blackmailed them into doing what he wanted all the time, all the while tricking people into thinking it was their idea. I knew this because I was a people watcher.
So, quirky couple, they're awesome. It's a great book. More excellent writing by Penny Reid. Like I said, this was, well, I'm kind of give it away, but this is my favorite book of the series. Okay.
I wonder what her star rating's going to be, guys.
I wonder what my star rating is going to be. Okay. Let's see what Rebecca put versus what I put.
Laura's going to get crafty.
She gave me a hard time before, so now I'm getting crafty. Even though it still took her a long time.
Because I was
ready.
Trying. I was trying. 1,
2,
3.
Okay, so you
still
gave 5 stars too.
Yeah, but see, like that's as crafty as I get.
I got heart eyes on mine. So at this point, if you came here just to learn a little bit about the book and its content rating, thank you for stopping by. But we are now going to do a deep dive.
Can we do tropes though?
I mean, some people figure that's spoilers. So we're going to do tropes, vibes, and keywords of the book. If you feel like that's spoilery, now's your time to head out. We will do those, and then I'll caution again when we go into do a deep dive into the book.
Okay. You want me to do mine?
Yeah.
And okay. So first of all, this book was hilarious, by the way. So like the whole series is absolutely hysterical. My vibes, keywords, whatever. Hot, rugged guys with beards. I'm going to keep that throughout the series because it just is.
It just is.
This book, enemies to lovers, sort of.
Really?
Yeah, because they did not like each other at first.
No.
I wouldn't say they were enemies, but they did not like each other. And this I picked from Penny Reid herself.
Really?
So, yeah.
I would say that's a hard pass. Because they didn't even acknowledge, like she knew who he was and he knew who she was, but they didn't even interact, period.
Well, they
had never even talked to each other.
He was indifferent about her, but I don't think she liked him at first. She was scared of him. She was scared of him at first.
A little bit, but not really scared. Well, it doesn't make enemies. It's more like, to me, they hadn't even spoken 2 words to each other. That was all based on her observation of him, and she spent a lot of time observing him. So moving on.
Yeah, anyway, so blackmail, fake dating, grumpy sunshine, slow burn, and of course I put swoon.
Yeah. I don't know if it's grumpy. Is there like a jaded / sunshine?
I don't know. Well, it's that's why I said enemies to lovers also, because there's not a maybe. I mean,
I know you wrote the book, but I.
No.
I would have an argument against that. Okay, I have other vibes and keywords. I have age gap. Because you have the female main character, FMC. She's in like her early 20s.
She's
and then
22.
Cletus is in, I believe, his late 20s.
Mm-hmm.
There's witty, laugh out loud banter. It takes a lot to get me to laugh out loud, and this book makes me laugh out loud. You will get some toxic extended family, the whole idea of courtship and courting the lady with the gentleman and the southern accents if you listen to audiobooks, which we're going to get to in a minute. So lots of southern charm, a strong MMC, and then a great character arc for the FMC. Again, if you don't know, that's female main character, male main character. A quirky couple, small town, you get the HEA, which is happily ever after. Dual point of view, which I love because I love character-driven stories. Penny Reid's very character-driven. So you get a lot of insight into the characters and what they're feeling. So you will know why they're doing something and all the reason. You don't have to guess, which I love. Very slow burn. Male main character owns a master's in espionage. Lots of respect for women in all of Penny Reid's books. Steamy, lots of honest, respectful conversations. And like you said, lots of secrets.
Mm-hmm.
Biker gang, sizzling chemistry, mechanics, and lots of yummy food references.
Yes.
So,
do we want to talk about the audiobook?
Well, hold on 1 second. So, world building setting, just to get an idea for that too, it still takes place in the quaint town of Green Valley, Tennessee, which is made up. But it's kind of like a Hallmark feel almost, right? Which we said this in the first two. So, if you want something that feels small town, you don't get crazy description, but you'll feel the quaintness. You can see a little bit of like mountains and
backwoods Appalachia.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't say they're backwoods because it's like, but it feels small town. You know, everybody knows.
No, but
everybody.
I remember at another episode we talked about Appalachia and how to say it.
Appalachia.
Well, I mean the proper pronunciation is Appalachia, but since they're southern, it's Appalachia.
Oh, okay. Appalachia. As she said with her Midwestern accent. Not that you're from I don't think you're from the Midwest,
I'm not
but
from
you
the
sounded
Midwest.
it.
Yeah.
What did you want to say?
We were going to talk about the audiobook.
Oh, fangirl moment. Can our producer show us the male narrator of this?
Chris Brinkley, we love you.
We love you. Okay, he does the entire series, and his voice is awesome. And I listened to, after the first book, there was like a Q&A that he did with Penny Reid, and it was so funny because they were talking about like how his voice, he got hired, and then he did the test run, and she was like, he changed his voice. She's like, no, just talk. So his he does a phenomenal job, and I feel like such an idiot because he actually commented on our last episode, on
Truth or Beard.
Or Beard. That was book 2, right?
Book 1.
Book 1. He commented on it, and I had a coworker that I worked with named Chris Brink. And I thought it was her, I just clicked it, and I was like, oh, thank you so much, thanks. And then Rebecca was like, did you see? and I was like, yeah, I saw it. And then I was like, oh my God. So we had a fangirl moment.
Chris Brinkley, storyteller.
So
but when we hear you, Chris, we see the Winston brothers, so we think that you should have a beard. Which is why we gave you one.
Yes. And then, of course, there's the lovely Joy Nash. So what's so hilarious is Ron and our producer Ron and then Rebecca were like, what's with the bananas? Like, why did Laura put bananas here? I'm like, she's the banana queen in this book. And they're like, oh, yeah. So she voices the lovely Jennifer Sylvester, and she is fabulous. She's fabulous.
She's great. And she did, but she also did the first book. She voiced
Jessica
James. So, and she's great. She's great. Even when she does the male parts, she's great. She's really good.
She's very versatile. Like every character has a unique voice. That you could just
and you can tell who's speaking. Mm-hmm. Like when she does the mom, she's You can,
but like her emotions and all that, and the fact, like, okay, I did look you up on TikTok and all that, and like her voice is nothing like this. Whereas I
so
think Chris,
talented, so much talent.
yeah, right. Whereas I think Chris Brinkley, that's his voice, which is he's still great because he has all the emotions and he really gets the scene and whatnot. And so like I'm always in it. There's nothing about either of their voices that pull me out. And we listen to a lot of audiobooks, and sometimes it's like I have to turn the volume up because they get like too low when they're trying to do a male's voice, and I'm like, wait, what did they say? Or like, it's just. But it's awesome.
Awesome sauce.
Yeah, it's really awesome. Okay, did we say awesome?
So yeah, you can go back to, I guess, the couple or
you can go to the next
the
one.
brothers, or
At this point, we are going to be doing a deep dive into the book itself. So if you haven't read it, I mean, you're welcome to stay as long as you want, but if you haven't read it and you want to read it, now would be a great time to see yourself out and join us back later, leaving any questions or comments in our comment section. Make sure to like and subscribe so you get brought back here. But this is phenomenal. So now we're doing a deep dive where we're going to share like all the things we loved, if there was anything that wasn't our cup of tea, and just full on discussion.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, things that were not your cup of tea. Absolutely nothing.
I don't think I had anything in this book that was not my cup of tea. Absolutely nothing. Everything, even if there was a cussing, it was well placed. It was truly deserved. I mean, like
intentional. There wasn't. It was mild. It wasn't any of like the harsher.
And it was authentic. An authentic.
Yeah,
place
and it was
for it.
It was none of the harshly sexually derived.
No.
Words
Even
either.
yes. Yeah, for sure.
So, which was great. So,
I loved the character development in this book. The personal and the amount of personal growth that both of these characters went throughout the book was great. I mean, I loved it. I loved it.
So Jennifer Sylvester, as you shared, she's 22, so she's young, and I just loved her. Like,
oh, she's so great. She's just so sweet.
She is the kindest.
You get cavities from from how sweet she is.
She's like the kindest, but she was, a little bit, but she recognized her naivety, right? So she recognized, she's like, I want something different for my life, but I need help getting it. And the reason why is because she was literally under the thumb of her parents.
I mean, bad. Like,
yes.
Bad. They would tell her what to wear.
Her mom did all that.
Super controlled.
But her dad was.
And her dad would always put her down.
Abusive.
Tell her how stupid she was and just all these awful things. And other people kind of, if they put her down, she just kind of was like, that's what she was used to. So she allowed it.
Well, she just turned it into like a compliment.
Yeah, and she turned it into a compliment for herself.
Just to kind of help herself get through it. And it's kind of sad. Like, her brother joins the army, and when he comes back, he joins the biker gang. And
his name is Twilight.
His biker name is Twilight. Wasn't it? But what was his real name?
What's his name? Oh gosh,
it'll come to me. But
was it Eric? It wasn't Eric.
But how sad for that, because that was her only best friend. She was homeschooled, and she wasn't not allowed to he was her only friend.
And she did have some pen pals overseas.
I loved her pen pals.
And she spoke to them in French and Japanese.
She learned
and stuff
Japanese,
French,
Italian.
Because her dad would also look at all of her computer history or phone history. She had no privacy whatsoever. So she would talk to them in a different language because, dad didn't know what they were saying.
Yeah. So she learned these languages and how to write in them, and which was, she's really smart.
And she's really smart.
She's really smart, and she's extremely observant. And so I loved
the people watching.
I love seeing the flip on it, because Cletus was the one used to manipulate in every situation for his gain. But really, at the heart of it, he was looking to protect those he loved with everything. So he was always looking for angles. What dirt can I put in my arsenal so that whenever I need to bring it up, I can to protect those I love?
He was always playing chess. In his mind, he would grab hold of a secret or some kind of information and keep it like he was playing cards, like he's still got that ace in his pocket. Did you catch
he did have a chessboard in his room?
Oh yeah,
when you
he did.
And then she was like, "Oh, here's 3 ways that this person can win."
Here's 3 ways that this person can do that. Yeah,
I was like, so she's super smart, but doesn't know these things about herself. She's gorgeous, but you would never believe it because basically for her mom, like she's never good enough, essentially. But also, I would assume being a social media personality,
Which
there's a lot of harsh comments.
She's the banana cake queen, so of course she's a wonderful baker. She can cook anything.
But people in her hometown like make fun of her, and she was kind of also shy and introverted, and chose to like be on the.
Because her mom keeps her in these corseted dresses that
she
just
wants
are
to be in the background. But,
yeah,
but her mom created this persona of like, I'm not real. I'm like this enigma. I'm here, but like she's not approachable.
Right.
So,
and people just thought she was weird. That just anyway.
So she was just not really. She didn't have any friends and all of that, and so by happenstance, she catches Cletus doing something illegal at the sheriff's office because his intention is to not, like, he wants to bring down the iron rates, like, completely, where they will just be gone for good. And what the sheriff office had this evidence, right, that was going to maybe put some away for a little bit. And Cletus was like, no, that's not good enough.
It's not right now.
So
not right now.
He takes the evidence, and she is doing some sort of promo.
She was going to do an interview with the sheriff.
She interviewed the sheriff, and Cletus was in the background of the video snatching the evidence, and so she uses it to blackmail Cletus into helping her. So that's how we shared these quotes. She knew of everybody he would be the one person that would be able to help her. And it's funny because she was always attracted to him. I don't know if you felt that. She was always attracted to him from the get-go.
I think she was attracted to his looks. Like she was attracted to all the Winston brothers looks.
And his brains. But she was she was intimidated. I wouldn't say afraid. I think she was intimidated or nervous because she's like, well, shoot, if this doesn't go right, he will seek revenge on me, and he can get creative with.
She wasn't afraid that he was going to hurt her. He was just a little intimidated.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I think it's more like intimidation. But I don't know. It was funny too because Cletus in the beginning, right? He was just like with this. So this new girl, Shelly, gets hired to the auto mechanic shop. Shelly has OCD and other things, but Cletus doesn't know that right off the bat. But he sees her. He's like, "Oh, we're well suited. She's it for me." And his brother Jethro was like,
I don't
know about that. And because Cletus, I feel like Cletus is. Did we discuss this last time? I think Cletus kind of comes off like he's on the spectrum because they say things like my brother says I'm when you're hyper focused on something. What's that called? What was the word they used in the book? Hyperfixating. He goes, my brother says I'm hyperfixating again. Like he gets one track mind and I want this and this is how it's going to happen, and there's not a lot of room for.
And he's particular. I mean, he's very organized and very he could be on the spectrum. Yeah, for sure.
I think he feels like he's on the spectrum.
High functioning. But Shelley really is on the spectrum. Like, she really is.
Is she? I don't know if she is. I thought she had more, extensive or intense, I should say, like OCD and something else, which doesn't mean on the spectrum.
I thought that in the Knitting in the City series that it comes out that she's.
I'll have to read. I mean, I think her book is next, but
yeah,
which they do set up. I think they're setting up Shelley's story, and I believe Bo. So Shelley and Bo in the next. I think it's the next book.
Which in this book, it's funny because Bo is the light-hearted twin. He's always joyous and all of that, and then and he cannot stand Shelley. For whatever reason, he just does not like her.
Yeah.
Cannot get along with her.
Yeah. So,
but Jennifer does. She really immediately gets along.
Just breaks down Shelley's walls.
Yes,
immediately.
And immediately
make soap. Somebody with OCD who cares so much about germs and.
It's like, I can teach you how to make soap, and Shelley was all about it. So Jennifer starts to make some girlfriends.
Yeah, it was really cool to see her arc through that whole thing. And just how forgiving and she just wants to. It was kind of sad, where she said at one point, he needs a hug, and even though he didn't hug her back right away, she's like, and I don't care because how many times I wish I had a hug.
Oh,
Jennifer.
But Jennifer does ask Cletus to help her find a man. That's what she wants. She wants a husband. She wants a family.
That's her goal. Can we go to the quotes? He just said no. Okay, well, I'll talk a little bit about Cletus while you're bringing up our quotes. But I want to come back to that with Jennifer because she really knows what she wants from her life.
Which ones? Those? Yes.
No, not Cletus. It would be a Jennifer quote. Keep going.
There you go. Stay there.
One more. Okay, so this is all one quote from her to give you an idea about little Jennifer. Cletus asks her, "What do you want?" And "What do you want to be?" is what he asks her. And she says, "A mother," I said simply because it was true. That's what I wanted first and foremost. And a really excellent wife and partner and homemaker. I want to have a family to take care of, to love and fuss over and think about. That's what I want. I know it's not progressive or flashy, and I know people don't place much importance on that stuff anymore. Just like people don't put much importance on humility and kindness, forgiveness and compassion. But those things are important to me. I know people will look down their noses at me for being just a mom, but I'm used to being marginalized for what I do and what I look like. And I think being a great mother is the most difficult and most important job in the world. I mean, she caught my heart right there because it's true. And I know I experienced this as a mom. I've been, without kids, just like working 3 jobs at a time. Then I've had kids where I do the whole stay home thing. And then I do the working part-time, staying home, and I've worked full-time when I have kids and whatnot. And it's such a mind game because I do feel people are kind of harsh. At least in today's culture, where you're just a mom. I feel like we're starting to turn that a little bit. I see some people be really supportive of that, but when my kids were younger, that was not the case. It was oh, you're just a mom, or you're not doing enough. It's not enough to be what you're wanting to do,
or traditional housewives are just looked down on as that's all you ever want to be.
Yeah, I feel like it's kind of the discussion's changing at this point, but this was written a while ago when that wasn't the case, and I applaud Penny for offering that side. It's okay if you choose to do that.
Some people just want to be a mom.
Yeah,
that's what they want to do, and
fine. And on the flip side, if you don't want to, be just stay home, and we say just a mom, but it's a lot of freaking work.
If you don't want to have a career outside the home, is what we mean by that.
Yeah, so it's a choice either way, but we shouldn't people shouldn't be bashed for that choice if that's what they want to do. And so, that's what she wanted, and she's young, but she knew exactly what she wanted, and she pretty much wanted to get started ASAP.
Yeah.
And but I love how Cletus and her relationship, as they're going through the book, right? Cletus doesn't even realize he's fallen for Jennifer yet, but his brothers do, so they're poking him a lot.
Yeah.
With the whole muffins and sausage.
Oh, and just when Billy took her out on a fake date, and Cletus happened to be there, and Billy was
who was making sure
putting his arm around her and stuff like that. I think he was pushing Cletus a little bit with that.
No, Billy was doing what he said to do, but then Cletus's response was so didn't he wind up taking the top? I think didn't Cletus wind up taking her? No, Billy took her to the front porch.
Yeah.
But Billy puts his hand on her small
Cletus
her back.
Was like,
Cletus
no.
was like, what are you doing? You have one job and this is not it.
But Cletus knew.
And then Bo flirting with the whole muffins.
Yes.
And really turning on the charm, and Cletus was like, "That's it, no muffins for you."
He was gonna rip his head off.
He takes the whole thing of muffins and locks the door on Bo. Bo's like, "You can't have all the muffins." He's like, "I'm gonna have all the muffins.
Watch me."
Yeah, and I think that was so cute because she brought blueberry pancake muffins, and blueberry pancakes are Cletus's favorite. It was fluffy clouds of awesome or something like that. He called them. Remember?
Yeah.
What did he call them? It was really cute. And I like how they were just really made for each other because she's in the spotlight but doesn't want to be, and Cletus is talented enough to be in the spotlight, and he doesn't want that either.
But Cletus is also very observant too, especially of Jennifer, and he realizes that she is it's everything she's doing is a farce. This is not who she is. She's not the banana cake queen. There's way more to Jennifer than what meets the eye.
And he's like, "Who are you?"
And she doesn't know.
Yeah.
So he's like, "I challenge you." This was one of my favorite parts. "I challenge you to change one thing about yourself every day." This was his homework that he gave her. for like the next week, change one thing. So she started off by changing her nail polish, and
Yeah,
then
he basically said, but it has to be. It doesn't matter what it is. It just has to be what you want.
it has to be something you want. And don't be
Yeah.
afraid of what somebody's going to say. Like if your mom gets mad at you for changing something, or your dad or whatever, you do it for you and do it because you like it and you like it. You don't care who thinks what
could
about
you
it.
not believe? I do wish it was a little bit bigger of a discussion that like Cletus would have found out. Like, you're not getting paid.
Right.
She was working 80-hour weeks.
And they weren't paying her.
And her parents were not paying her.
Like, she had no bank account. She had the BMW was in her mother's name.
I mean, it was a gift, but it was her mother's name. So they basically
controlled her. She was a slave. She was a slave.
They addressed it through, the pen pal writing. Because the pen pals were like, you need to get a bank account. You need to do these things.
The pen pals kept trying to push her to do stuff.
Yeah, but
they would send her clothes.
I really wish Cletus would have found out. And
Cletus would have gone insane about that. He would have handled it. Yeah.
But Sienna came through.
Yeah.
Sienna, like, they all rallied around her, and they just, like, everybody immediately loved her when they actually got to talk to her and, like, figure out who she was. And
it came down to where, finally, and I'm not really sure who falls first in this scenario. I kept going, does Jennifer fall first or is it Cletus? Like, I don't know.
In her thoughts, Jennifer falls first.
Yeah.
But in actions, Cletus falls first.
Yeah, I kept going, who's falling first? It was just kind of like,
I think
it was almost mutual. Yeah, it was weird. At the
like
same
this.
time, it was like, yeah.
They were traveling and it went whoop.
So eventually they are together, obviously. Yeah. And then Dad finds out because Cletus has a conversation with Dad.
Yeah. And
Cletus in the conversation, because, Dad is all about her marrying status-wise and money and making sure she's taken care of in those senses. Mm-hmm. And by a person that has a reputation in the community as someone worth knowing, I guess. Yeah. And Cletus, being an auto mechanic and knowing nothing else about him but that, was not okay with Dad. So, but Cletus goes and says, we're dating. I really like her, blah, 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 blah. And then Dad has a huge problem with Cletus, and Cletus blackmails Dad.
Well, he's like, yeah, he's like, you are going to...
You're going to be okay with this. You're going to give us our blessing.
You're going to give us your blessing.
And he's
otherwise, I will share.
Yeah.
Which he had to learn that lesson that, like, even though your intentions were good, because, he ultimately said that because he didn't want to upset Jennifer, right? Because he didn't want this guy to, like, make an issue for Jennifer, with, like, him and her dating and all that. And some people are like, well, that was kind of selfish. In a sense, yes, but at the root of it, his heart was, I'm protecting Jennifer, my Jen, because...
But I'd want to know. If it was, so the blackmail was actually Mr. Sylvester has been having an affair with his secretary. Jen's dad was a principal of a high school, right?
Yes.
And had been having an affair, like a year, like 4 or 5 years, many year long affair with the secretary.
Yeah.
And Cletus knew this, and then he chooses then to drop that little bit of information to blackmail Dad. Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, he started to care about Jennifer, so I would want to know. She got upset. Like, I think she was valid in her getting...
because she felt like he didn't trust her. It was at the root of that. It wasn't that he blackmailed the dad. It was that you should have trusted me to choose you.
Right.
If my dad said, I don't want you seeing him and I'm going to make things difficult for you if you do, she wanted Cletus to fully trust her. So now Cletus, as you've known for book 1 or 2, the Winston brothers had a terrible upbringing. Their dad was a biker. He was abusive, horrid to these kids. And so Cletus used to have a huge anger issue, where he would just basically black out and become like this raging lunatic, which kind of affected him. And so he's made a lot of strives to conquer that. He does yoga and he has his special coffee drink and takes good care of his body. And he really makes sure that he manages these things in his life. And, but he has a hard time trusting people because of the abuse he went through.
And he's afraid to be a father because he's so afraid that one day he'll be abusive
And Jennifer wants a huge family, and like
Yeah.
kids are a non-negotiable for her. Like, I want kids. But at the root of it, why she was mad at Cletus was because he didn't trust her enough.
Right.
And
Exactly.
she's like, if this is going to work, you have to trust me.
And the reason why Cletus would keep all these cards close to his heart was because he was always looking for the bully and the person that was trying to get away from stuff. Or
He's like
get away with
he's
stuff.
like a vigilante.
He's like a little neighborhood vigilante, right?
But without the murdering and stabbing.
Yeah, right. Like, I mean, like he talks about the whole time, this whole book, he talks about giving Jackson James leprosy. And I thought that was...
just a little case of it.
He wanted to give Jackson James leprosy. Like, I want to know if that's even possible.
I'm sure it is, yeah.
But hilarious. Like, just... And he was completely serious. Wanted to put itching powder in his shirts. Like, it just...
And then, Jennifer Sylvester's like, well, have you talked to him? Instead of like going to the extreme of like having to do this revenge but Cletus is used to, you can't talk about this. And when you've been taught that if I share hard things with you or if I talk to you about things, you're going to emotionally and physically abuse me, put me into a back shed for days without food and water.
Kill my dog.
Kill my dog. Yeah. Like things that are absolutely insane. Beat my brother so bad he's like hospitalized. Near death.
Yes. And these are all things that Dad did.
Yeah. So. It's kind of like, well, no wonder why he doesn't feel comfortable.
Yes. I'm actually amazed that all these boys came out relatively unscathed.
Well, they
had their issues.
They have their histories. But they really rallied together as a family.
But that's the character development, the personal growth that all these characters take are great.
It's really a strong family.
Yes.
And that's what I love about it is like they do not, I just, when Billy lifts up Jennifer because she walked barefoot.
That's where I was going.
And
because Daddy eventually disowns Jennifer.
Disowns Jennifer and says, if you take that car, I'm going to report it stolen and all these things. So she leaves the house and walks just with no jacket, whatever she has on her body. He basically says, you're out of this house and you can't take anything with you. And
had no shoes on her feet.
She follows that literally to the T and walks barefoot from her place all the way to the Winston. So her feet are just tore up. And but when it comes out that Cletus didn't trust her enough with the whole dad thing, I'm blackmailing I was blackmailing your dad. And he tells her, and then she's hurt because of the whole, like, you didn't trust me enough. Billy picks her up and he like looks at Cletus and it was like, no excuse, bro. No excuse.
But then they kind of fill in and take care of her. So
then Bo and Billy take care of her.
Like little sister treatment.
Yeah. And it's just so awesome because they love their brother. That's their brother. And in that moment they held him accountable.
Oh yeah.
And that's what all these brothers do. And their mom was a fabulous woman and she made sure that their relationships were salvaged between the brothers and whatnot. They really relied on each other and helped each other through all these things. And each book you see, that one of their suitcases of that extra toxic baggage just
falls,
drop away, and they have healing and redemption and love. And it's just, I love these books. I've shared this all the time. I don't like reading things that make me feel like, ugh, and there's no justice at the end or like, no happily ever after. And Penny does such a good job with keeping it real, but also keeping it hopeful.
Right. And it's comedy too. So there's a lot of it. It's just so very lighthearted, even though they're going through really tough issues, Tough. I mean, there's a point where Cletus is in the grocery store and Jennifer's brother comes in and starts talking to her really badly, and Cletus is there for that, and he just falls off and punches him in the face. Best thing ever. Yeah. But now he's upset the whole entire Iron Raves biker gang. So they've got to like get away, and he has to call Dwayne, his brother, and he's like, I need help. And they navigate. So that's
the driver.
Yeah. So it's intelligent conversations. Like they help each other. It's comedy. They're going through all these deep things, but it still feels kind of light, even though it's heavy.
Yes.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, because if you're a reader like me who feels things so deeply, and
you're there,
and you will carry these things with you, like when you read, which is why it is so difficult for me to read really like dark, hard stuff that stays in that lane. Because I know, like we're believers, and so like for me, there's always hope, and there's always like that. So when I read a book that doesn't offer that, it's just like, I don't feel good after reading it. But for the most part, like I will carry these things with me. So Penny, like I said, she has a really good balance of it's not like super generic and chintzy and like cheesy and all that when it comes to those types of things. It is like
no, there's deep issues.
There are deep issues that she addresses, and like every character has something that they have to overcome. And like you said, this she just keeps it lighter. I know it's like romance and like you assume there's the happily ever after, but even in those dark moments, the emotional maturity of the characters is, how do I say it? It's so good.
Chef's kiss.
Chef's kiss. Thank you. I couldn't think of the word. Chef's kiss.
Can we go back to some of these quotes?
Yeah, let's go through some of the quotes, and then we're going to close out. And we can't wait to finish the rest of the series with you guys. But please share it, because we would love to have a comment from Penny Reid on one of these, just like we had from Chris Brinkley, even Joy Nash too.
Yeah,
so
Joy. Yeah,
please share and tag them.
I like that. So I was just talking about when Cletus punches Jennifer's brother in the face, and I can't believe I can't remember his name.
So I'm gonna feel like it's like with an S, but I don't really remember. Why do I literally just was listening to it yesterday.
I was too.
Okay, so here's the set up the story. If you remember, they're in the grocery store. She goes really late to get bananas, and Cletus had been waiting all day from her, from opening to close, for her to get there because he needed to talk to her. He hadn't seen her in a week. And she runs into her brother. Now, remember, the brother gets back from the army. She doesn't see him. When she first sees him, he's joined the biker gang. And he says, I have no family. I have no sister. So he roughly pulls her around in the grocery store. And then he, like, comments on her appearance because she's changing.
Yeah, by this time she started to wear things that she wanted to wear, like jeans and a t-shirt.
She was wearing jeans and a t-shirt, and then like a sweater that was like shouldn't be worn over.
But she did have on high heels because she couldn't find her boots,
and it was like a little bit tighter. But I'm like, well, what? She's wearing corset dresses. I'm sure she had cleave, right? Like what's going on? But he was saying she's dressed inappropriately, and it
looks like a whore.
And he quotes his dad. That, like, you are the reason you're causing men to sin.
Yes.
And Cletus goes, Rebecca, take it away.
Cletus punches him in the face. Well, or did he say this first? I can't remember. He said, do you honestly think God would make a creature as lovely and talented and good as your sister and then make the way she looks something sinful? Something to be ashamed of? No, he wouldn't. If anything, your sister, her face, her body, her mind, and her heart to give glory to him. And she shouldn't be hidden. You don't hide something that remarkable away from the world like your parents have done, like you would want to do. That's the true sin. Boom! And then he punched him in the face.
Breaking his jaw, so it has to be wired shut. Anyway, so some of the really fun, which I forgot to bleep out something. But this is like some Chef's Kiss quotes from Cletus. Saying someone would make a great politician is like saying someone would make a great serial killer. It's
not a compliment. My hair is ridiculous. It's been misbehaving since birth.
Yes. BS was the adult version of Santa Claus. For reasons I'll never comprehend, the general population seemed to enjoy wallowing, spouting, and believing in bull.
I thought I blocked that out.
No, it's okay.
If you don't want someone to get your goat, don't let them know where you've got it tied. Where it's tied. Sorry.
So something I really like about Cletus, right, is that he has a great heart. Like he was always wanting to rescue people, and I guess we will learn in future books what it is that like kind of burned him from like wanting to help rescue people. So he's like, I've taken off my cape. Like he sees Jennifer as somebody needing to be rescued, and that's not really what the case is. She's like, I just need help getting myself to a point. Right. Guide me a little bit, and then I will take care of my business. I like this one. These stubborn people and their demands were like cracker crumbs in my beard, irritating and flaky.
Yep, that's what I was thinking about. And as an aside, I now understood the popularity of house dresses in the mid-20th century.
So he says that to her brother when he's like, oh, I think, right, in the grocery store. He's like, but I know why, or something happened. Like, I now understand the appeal of these house dresses.
Yes.
I hated being early. It was like having to wait for the same thing twice.
Yes, I feel that. I agree. I agree.
Okay, we'll do one more. Well, I'll do two more. I'll read this and you can read that one. Best to leave farts and the past behind you.
Did Jennifer say that or did Cletus?
I think that was Cletus. Or it could have been one of Cletus's brother. They were quoting their mom. That was what their mom. That's what their mom would say.
Which one did you want me to read? This Cletus raised an eyebrow, or this one?
This is it's all one thing.
Oh,
it's between him and Jennifer.
Oh, that I shrugged. She said I'd gained weight, so I assumed she meant I was looking healthy. That was Jennifer talking about
this woman.
This woman was told her she
being nasty.
Looked like she gained weight. Cletus raised an eyebrow at this, staring at me as though I'd lost my mind. Why would you do that? Clearly, she was waving her obloquious flag.
Yeah.
What does obloquious mean? It means she's a hateful B word.
Beep. Oh, okay, let's move on to some quotes from Jennifer. Okay. I'm so awkward. My awkward is embarrassed by my awkward.
Cletus's middle name wasn't evasive, but it should have been.
Yeah. Is that my voice? Have you guys seen The Emperor's New Groove? When what's the creepy lady's name? Yzma's her name. When she turns herself into a cat and is that my voice? Is that my voice? Like this little cat. We should clip that in, Ron. We gotta clip that in.
Looking for this. Is that my voice? Is that my voice? Oh well.
But she goes, is that my voice? Good Lord, that sounds sexy.
Cletus had her in a mood, apparently. Because they aren't me. I'm me. I have to live with me all day, every day, and I got to choose who or what I wanted to be.
She also had some really profound things because she knew what it was like to be lonely and knew how important relationships. The previous one.
Previous one?
Yeah, right here. Oh. So she's talking to Cletus at this point about trusting her and everything, and she says, no matter what happened in your past, what ghosts might lurk there, the road you take is ultimately up to you. I squeezed him back, but selfishly, I hope it's always the road I'm on.
Go forward. Again. Oh, okay. Yes, this.
So these are more Cletus ones from you?
This was Cletus. This is Cletus and Jennifer. I just wanted to read this one. Ashley is talking to, Ashley is the Winston Brothers. Yeah, and tending to her feet, but she's also she's the Winston Brothers' sister.
Yeah.
And she says this, and I love this quote. Stay away from the normals, the small-minded people who fill their brains with small-minded pursuits, who blend in and keep up with the Joneses. Those people will tear you down and make you boring. Instead, surround yourself with the weirds, with the misfits, oddballs, and outcasts, because the normals, bless their hearts, have no idea how to have fun. Love it.
I like it.
So,
it's my favorite.
As you can tell, we love this book and we love this series.
If you haven't read it, and I know we went through all of it, but you still should read it. You gotta still read it. Who cares?
And if you have read it and you feel the same way we do, or if you don't, whatever your feelings, comment below and let us know what your thoughts are, where you rate this book, your star rating, if you'll be moving on with the series and reading the rest of the books, if you'll be reading Knitting in the City, whatever, just comment below.
That's where Ashley's story is.
Yeah,
Knitting
Ashley's
in the City.
Yeah. But yeah.
Well, guys, this is a wrap up for this week's Bloop episode. And again, the next books we have coming down the pipeline are Ruthless Vows, which is book 2, and
Divine Rivals,
the duology, and then we will also be reviewing the 4th book
in the Winston Brothers
series. So until next time, happy reading, and we look forward to connecting with you soon.
God bless you guys.